doing?
Am I good?
Yep.
Coach, Des talked about setting the tone on day one. He said you did a good job of doing that. What does setting the tone mean first day of training camp?
Realizing that what we've done is not good enough. We're far from where we need to be. I know it's only the start of the season, but really taking a hard look of how we approach our craft every single day, the urgency that we bring in everything we're doing. I think Des said it great at the end of practice to his teammates. He said, we've all been through this before. We know what we're supposed to do. It's got to be on all of us to bring it every single day and hold each other to that standard that we're trying to strive for. If we want to accomplish anything, it has to be now. It can't be this, we'll just gradually get into it. But it's something that we're going to be talking about all season long. It's a tone that's got to be there consistently day in and day out. There's ups and downs that happen. But for the most part, I thought over the course of our practice today, guys were good. They had pretty good energy, but we had our lulls for sure. We didn't start off like we needed to. But luckily our guys, as they always do, respond. Now it's just our ability to set that standard higher every day that we walk into this gym.
Does Ja look bigger to you? Like, is he physically,
Sorry, say this again?
Ja, does he look bigger to you, like, physically?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really attacked the offseason program, added more weight. I mean, obviously we know the situation we're walking into, so the last month I know he's been pretty relentless in working on his body and adding more strength and, knowing that's kind of the base for everything that he's going to be, able to accomplish with all of his gifts. So that's something that we're staying on him about. His commitment in the weight room has been phenomenal the last couple of weeks, and obviously now as we're kind of, having him integrated with the team as well, but having this separate plan as well so that he's training to the highest degree on his body, on his skills. We got to get through camp first and kind of navigate that, but I've definitely seen some changes that obviously are going to benefit him in the long run.
Talking about the integration, coaches, y'all running with the twos when y'all have runs, or how are you handling it?
Yeah, he was with the second unit. We didn't really break up into like 3 units, just kind of spatially with how we kind of did some things. We mixed up the groups when we did go to 3 teams, so there wasn't like a really set first, second, third team, but when we were kind of digesting some of our offense, he was with the second unit.
Taylor, do you get a sense from him that there's a level of appreciation and excitement to be able to be here during this time? He knows what's between now and December, but just to be able to do today and practice and know that these things went his way, did you see any sense of that from him today?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think he's been thrilled, to be around the group. I know we talk about it's just words and it's hard to, fully explain it, but he gets so much joy being around his teammates, being in this environment, the game that he loves, and we're just going to continue to challenge him to really pour himself into that even more, pour into his own craft, pour into his teammates, pour into me as well, how we got to challenge each other to get better. But having him around is a huge thing for us because we're, setting that tone. Like I was just asked a moment ago, and he can be a part of that tone setting with how he approaches every single day. Obviously, it's going to be frustrating that we don't have him, for the first 24, but we know that's the reality. We have to move forward. We just got to be focused on just bringing that energy every single day, and he's been great at it. And we're going to hold him to that because we're going to have him doing extra work to stay ready when game 26 rolls around.
It's also the first practice for a couple of new assistants. What do you like about Patrick in particular, and then Anthony?
Yeah, with Saint, he's super detail oriented. Obviously a guy I spent a lot of time with Atlanta and Milwaukee. He's grown over the last couple of years, assumed so many different roles. Just his awareness and perspective, that a head coach goes through, he gives me so much that I can lean on. The way he teaches the game is probably the thing that comes across the most. His preparation, his studying of the game. Obviously, he's been on a lot of successful teams. He's evolved, with a lot of different teams himself. So his ability to connect with players, help them grow from a player development standpoint. I've already loved seeing the connections he's built with guys. But then, as I said, I think yesterday, he's overseeing our offense, working with a team of other assistant coaches too. It's not just him himself, but the leadership he's taken on that and really understanding that we've got to elevate our offense. We know that. How we're going to do it, how we're going to teach that, how we're going to communicate that, not just to the players, but to the staff. I think he does a phenomenal job. And then AC, you just feel his energy every single day. He's got so much experience, unbelievable reputation when it comes to challenging people. And when we talk about a standard, it's one thing to say, but it's another thing to actually do it. Guys lived it as a player, guys lived it as a coach. You see him in those one-on-one workouts with guys, how he's pushing them to get better. And then, we talk about just the small things, the little intangibles that you have to do to be great. He's already laying that foundation with our guys in a different way. His voice carries a lot of weight. His energy carries a lot of weight, something that we need to lean on for our ability to get a lot better as a team.
Are there any practice habits from the last few years that
You're just talking about in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, training camp's different than the regular season, but it's kind of one of those, how are we laying a foundation for what are the kind of non-negotiables for our urgency? It's not even what drills we're doing, it's just our approach to practice. I think as you'll hear me say, I think we've done good, but not good enough, not nearly good enough. And I want to carry that mentality day to day, start playing games, the ups and downs, obviously the travel, there's always built-in excuses, but how are we approaching this gym as a sanctuary to teach a little bit differently, coming in this gym together more, talking about things, going to the depths of things a lot more. So kind of my coaching style, not just with my presence and my voice and how I attack things that our players got to feel, it's also what I'm delivering to them and how I'm delivering it in court, film sessions, one-on-one, all that. So wrap that all up. Practice is going to look a little bit differently, but at its core, what we're trying to accomplish will be the same. It's just we've got to attack it a little bit differently.
Who and what are you looking at in terms of figuring out the fifth starter for the first 25 games?
Well, number one thing, I think I said it yesterday, obviously, is that defensive mindset. With Marcus to start the season, Dez, JJ, Steve-O, we're pretty confident in those four. It's another guy that can slide in and understand their role and where they're going to make their most significant impact. It's no shock. I obviously change our lineups, within the meat of the game and, kind of balance who's in that starting unit, second unit. But I want these guys to accept the competition, saying if I'm locked in defensively, game plan assignments, one-on-one defense, that there can be that trust and reliability there. That's going to enhance the rest of that starting unit. And then obviously the reads that I make, kind of within the secondary part of our offense. It's the closeout reads, it's the simple playmaking reads, and then the investment in their three-point shooting. We've got to get a whole lot better if we're going to really strive to be a create an advantage team, drive, kick out to the three-point line. Those guys got to be really good at that. So I think we got a lot of guys that are fully capable of it, and then they're going to attack it, and they've all, had one-on-one time to hear that from me directly. And I think these guys are approaching it the right way. And obviously, as we handle every practice, every preseason game, we're going to have different lineups, different starting lineups. Nothing's going to be set in stone until opening night. And then even beyond that, we want to be open-minded to, really see what's best game to game. I got to be better in that department, and hopefully our guys feel that.
Taylor, what did you see from Steven today in terms of, if I remember right, Zach said yesterday that he had been cleared for 5-on-5 and want to ramp up things for opening night. How did things go today?
Yeah, I thought everything went really well with Steve-O. Very similar to what you just said. He was full participant in everything. We were just kind of monitoring some of his reps so that we could really save it for a lot of the live contact, transition drills, some half-court stuff, and even some 5-on-5. Guy's been around the league for a really long time, so he knows what we're all about. But you felt his presence, you felt his physicality out there. His movements were great. He looked like Steve-O, out there. So really excited what we saw on day one. Obviously, we're going to continue to just monitor how he's feeling day to day and all that. But so far, all signs are really good.
Is opening night the night that you guys have circled in terms of, like you just mentioned, you feel pretty good about Steve-O being in that starting lineup?
Yeah, I mean that's our anticipation until I get told otherwise. Obviously, I talk all the time about working with our medical and performance teams and kind of getting guidance there. I haven't gotten any indication otherwise. So obviously, we still got whatever it is, 3 weeks of preseason to navigate. So we want to be very smart because obviously we know the impact he can have, not just now, but especially when we kick off opening night. That's our goal.
Last question.
I know it's game one, but does anybody in particular impress you on the first day of training?
Yeah, I mean, I love those questions because I think honestly the answer, there was a number of guys. I don't think any one player really stood out in the sense that they kind of grasped everything that we were talking about. There were missteps on everyone's part, especially looking at those guys that the open competition with our rotation opportunities going into the season, something I'm looking at. I thought a lot of guys grasped it. Again, when we start rolling out preseason games, that's where it's really going to come to a head. Seeing which guys are playing with utmost confidence, playing with that role, acceptance and what they've got to do. But so far, decent. I'm never going to say these guys are ready. They've got to keep fighting for it. So a lot of different guys, but I'm definitely proud of the leadership that when I challenged the group, they responded. Dez in particular, John in particular, Dez in particular. Obviously Marcus and Derek, getting them accustomed to who we are and my coaching style. JJ as well. Really leaning on those guys. Steve-O as well. Those guys responded, and that's what we need this group to step up and hold each other accountable to the standard. I say that all the time. It's truly how do we work? How do we live? We know what we need to do. It's about doing the things that are necessary to win. So proud of those guys. I'm going to challenge them even more tomorrow, and hopefully they continue to raise their level. Great. Thanks, everyone.